I did this the wrong order. Countdown. All right. Oh, I forgot to play this banner. This is the banner, Burke. This is a live coding show. It is unscripted. You can tell it is December. There are 16 people watching. So
where's everybody? Everybody's already on vacation. We're the only ones left.
I think so. And we're about to be soon, I think.
What are we doing?
Is this our last of the year? Do you think we'll do next week?
I mean, I could probably go one more time. I mean, honestly, we do this for fun, so I would probably do it even if I was on vacation. You know, I mean, like I'm going to be working on this thing anyway. So
I'm supposed to be on vacation. They yell at me. I'm like supposed to. I have not taken really any vacation this year, and every time I talk to people, they're like, "Are you on vacation?" I'm like, "Yeah," you know. But
yeah. What's up, Nash? How's it going? Yeah, Victor, good to see you as usual. Yeah, we're all itching for a vacation for sure.
Victor's going to fix all the bugs. So today, here's another banner I did not do. Today, we are doing saving via the API, right? Save.
That is, hopefully. I mean, it all hinges on you, John. So
I know. Okay.
I don't have a dog in this fight.
So it's always the balance of like, how much do we want to do live and how much are we going to pre-prepare? I did go through and looked at some stuff. But some of this is going to be live, so we'll see how it works. For people who are new to this or whatever, just to review, we are rebuilding this site, which was previously written with Azure Storage, View, Azure Front Door, a bunch of stuff before static web apps was a thing. And it is an awesome site. I love it. It allows login. I love this. It says with Twitter, not with X. And it logs in, and then here's my lists. So you can see I do so much stuff with this. You can see I did one earlier this week. I do all these .NET Roundup things. But we are redoing it with static web apps. We're using Blazor. We're learning some new stuff. We are, I don't know, maybe upgrading to .NET 8 today. This is my scary thing I threw at Burke this morning. I'm like, yeah, we should totally do it.
Well, the reason why I was scared is because I had seen some stuff on Twitter about .NET 8 and Blazor, and it was chatter, not necessarily good chatter.
What sort of chatter? It
was just like it was talking about I don't know, maybe it was the new Blazor Universal or something. Is there like a new model for Blazor where you just target everything?
Yes, and we're not using that. So it was originally called Blazor United, and then the marketing folks were like, stop making up new names for stuff, just call it Blazor. And it is Blazor server-side rendering, and then it also has this component model where it does server-side rendering, but it does some really nice like client interaction, and then it also sends the WebAssembly over to the client in the background over a WebSocket, and then it switches. So you get kind of the benefits of both server-side rendering and client-side operation.
Best of both worlds.
Yeah, and I think that's like a common pattern in JavaScript land too, right? I've heard like, I don't know, Next.js or some of these other people have been like, this isn't something they just invented in .NET land. But yeah, I think pretty cool. Yeah, I'm looking at this. Can .NET work? Okay, I'm reading this question blind. I don't know what it. Can the .NET work on being too explicit on method names and arguments? Some are just way too long to remember. Well, so I mean, I think the question here, if you are using in your own application, you can use your own variable names, whatever you want. I think .NET has some clearly defined, like both patterns, and then also there's actually like naming guidelines and stuff that they use. So I don't know. It'd be good to see like an example of what they're talking about. I guess I should just kind of share my screen and go for it, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
Some stuff.
You know, I was thinking, John, also that I'm kind of derailing us here before we get started, but there are some server-side things that we just need, and I go between wishing that we had a server and being thankful that we don't. So, for instance, like when this can be a little abstract. I don't know how much sense it's going to make, but if you share a link to a URL list to like Facebook or something, Facebook uses the Open Graph to pull in the name of the site and the description. Yeah. And it gets that from the header of the page, right? Well, in our case, ideally, we would have the name of the list and the description is in the Open Graph, but we can't because that stuff isn't known until after the page loads. Right. So ideally, you want that to be rendered on the server side. And we talked about also in the case of people who are just getting links, they have to load the entire Blazor WebAssembly to make a single HTTP call. Right. And this is like, you just want that rendered on the server. You don't want to send people, you just need to send them a bunch of static HTML. There's no point.
Yeah. Yeah, I would love to. So we got some help last week from Steve Sanderson, and like Dan's also been popping in. I would love to chat through some of this stuff with them too, because there are some options with this. I've played with like, so the way that like, let me share I am sharing my screen. We'll pop us in the corner here. If we look at, for instance, here's the Blazor app. The index page is actually just HTML, and you can do some, like, you're going off on your own a little bit here, but you can put custom stuff in here and you can intercept things, and you can, so for instance, like the page could run JavaScript that says, if the URL contains something, load up Open Graph, or you could, you know what I mean? You can, yeah,
but it has to be, that has to happen on the server, right? Like by the time, like when Facebook makes a request for the page, it's not going to run the JavaScript. It's just asking for the Open Graph data the same way that we do, right? It's just reading the HTML and getting the Open Graph from the header.
Yeah.
And that, if that
I'm not sure
happens,
I'm not sure if that's totally true. I think that a lot of things do execute JavaScript now. We should test that out.
We should. That's true. I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
But it's just, I wish that I could do both. You know, I wish that I could be like, I want to render this on the server and this I don't want to render on the server.
Well, and I've struggled with that too, because I got really excited about the Blazor, like the Blazor United stuff, you know, like, or whatever it's called, the new Blazor component model with server-side rendering. And then I'm like, oh, shoot, we can't take advantage of that. But I think there are ways we could, like, so Manoj is saying, like, you know, query parameters, or we can do stuff with, you know, potentially like Azure Front Door, where it's like, if you go to the URL list /link / blah, 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 you know? Yeah. So there's this, this head output component. I think there are hacks. There's different ways to do it, but I think there are hacks to it where we can basically say, like you could intercept it. You could use front door, or you could use.
Then we're back to tacking front door. Then we got another expensive service.
Right.
You know,
and there are also ways that you can statically render stuff. Like you can do, say, a GitHub action or something like that that can pre-build HTML, and then do something. I'm not sure. I would like to think about if there's ways to keep with the static web app and also have pre-rendered stuff.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, it's just something to think about. You know, I've been thinking actually a lot about different ways to do that. And
okay, well, let us do this right now. Let's add this into here. So what do we call that? Like investigate pre-rendering?
Investigate static content, I think is what I'm really after, right? What I really don't want to do is if somebody goes to urls.com/Victor, I don't want them to have to load up the entire WebAssembly for Blazor to view Victor's links for that particular list. That's ridiculous. You should only do that. In fact, I don't want that to happen when they go to the homepage. That should only happen when people engage with the application.
Well, so that's actually an example of what I was talking about, because when we were building this out before, so this is the homepage, but we can put other content on this. So for instance, like this homepage of the site can be whatever, and it could start loading the WebAssembly JavaScript, and it can load stuff, but for right now, it's just got this loading thing. We can put welcome to the URL list. We can put image references. We can put whatever the hell we want there.
Right. But
meaning you can put the entire homepage
right there.
Right there.
But it's still going to load the WebAssembly.
But so what? Like, meaning
because I don't want somebody to because it loads it after the fact.
Exactly. So it's not going to slow down their interaction with the page. If they do interact more with it, they've got the WebAssembly bits there, and we're not paying for the bandwidth or whatever. That's Azure Static Web Apps. So maybe it doesn't matter.
The user is paying for the bandwidth, right? So, you know, if
I mean, yeah, but it's like a few megabytes compared with most websites on the internet now. Even a JavaScript React app is megabytes, you know. So I don't know. That might be a hack that we could use there, is to just put the front page content right in this loading block.
Yeah, there's also routing rules that we can put in static web apps to basically say, for this route, go to this static page, and for this route, go to this static page.
There you go, so right?
There's options, but we'll see.
That's a great example. I was looking at that a bit. Like, yeah, there's a lot of options in here. So that would be under, where is that? Configuration.
Oh, that's actually it's a file. So if you go to the project itself, there's a file called staticwebapps.config.json, I believe.
Is that client? Is this going to show something?
No, you can. Yeah. So right now, all we have, it basically says send all traffic to index.html, because Blazor is going to handle the whole thing.
Yeah.
But we could point to some static pages. The problem is, we should discuss this on another stream, because it's complicated.
Well, and I would love to get, like, say Steve on or somebody and just hash through it. You know what I mean? Because I think this is something that we're hitting, but like anyone that's building a static web app probably has to balance this, right? Or people are like, I'm not going to use static web apps because I don't want to pay for that. You know, I don't want my.
Or the answer just is like, sometimes you need a server, right? Like, go run Blazor server on app service. Like, what do you want from us?
Right. But I do agree. Maybe the index page is this lightweight thing that just loads, or maybe the link share page is a light thing and it calls back to a function to get stuff, but it's like quick load. And then only when you're interacting and saving links and stuff does it load the Blazor stuff. So I don't know. It's something to think about.
All right. Well, let's get into the thing. What are we doing today?
Okay. Well, I want to show off one neat thing. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm using a, what is it called? Preview. I'm using the preview UI in It's not showing it now.
In Visual Studio.
Preview functions. I'm doing one of the preview features. It's like this UI refresh thing they're doing. So it's like, it's one of these things, you check it off, experimental something, control styles, I think. But it's kind of neat. It's just kind of different tab style. It's kind of like a lightweight thing. And then it also has these, somewhere in here, it's got different themes. And it loads up different like fancy themes.
Oh, that's cool. That's
yeah.
VS Code.
It's totally VS Code like, right? So anyways, okay, so I was looking at a few things. So I'm starting off in save links. And I'm doing some cleanup while I'm there. So I noticed one thing right away is that I have a bunch of lines that I did this. I think this is a bit of an anti-pattern here, is I used Copilot to do this, and it was like taking me forever to read through these because there's so much prompts that it's like, get the Cosmos container. Next line says get container. So anyways, before I could even start sanely coding, I went through and cleaned up some of this stuff.
Okay.
And then another thing that I want to do, and I feel safe about this, but you were a little worried before, but I think we can update it to .NET 8. I think that'll go super smooth. So.
Would you want to do that first?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm totally like, it's just going to totally work. And we can run it locally and see, right? Okay, so there. All right. I'm sorry. It was just like taking me forever to scroll through this, and I was realizing like so much code. Okay, so I'm going to make use of a neat feature in VS, which is upgrade. So this is the upgrade assistant. And have you seen this before? It's kind of neat.
No.
Okay, so for this, it's super simple, but it's doing more than just upgrading the project. It actually upgrades the dependencies too.
Shouldn't you do the whole solution?
Yeah, this works at the project level.
Okay.
So we'll go through and do the different ones. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, so it goes through, it upgrades here like dependencies. It knows enough about stuff like Azure Functions where it actually does like update some of the code. It's not just like switching the project files. So, okay, so it did the things. So that's the API. I should have done shared first, but okay, so now we'll do upgrade. This one should be like nothing.
Yeah, it's like class, very simple class.
This is more useful for, this actually will help upgrade ASP.NET Framework apps to ASP.NET Core, which is pretty neat. And it uses a proxy. Yeah, this is great. I'm using Visual Studio 2022. Normally we use VS Code. This time around, just to mix it up, I'm using Visual Studio. So this is Visual Studio. And to be specific, I'm using Visual Studio Community. Oh, I'm on Enterprise. I usually use Community. I kind of switch back and forth. And this is preview. So 17.9, whatever. All right, now let's upgrade the upgrade Blazor, and then I'll go ahead and write the stuff. So, all right. It is pretty neat. Like it's actually going through and updating stuff. Yeah, Amy, I'm enjoying this like new look. And like Burke said, it's very VS Code inspired, I think. But it's like just kind of like nicer tabs and just kind of a little more modern feel and stuff. And then, I don't know, do we want to try a different, which is it? Window, tools, theme. Okay. I'm on Juicy Plum. That seems
pretty
fun.
Juicy.
Solarized, Tomorrow Night Blue. That sounds fun.
Try that one.
All right, let's see. Not as fast as VS Code to switch. I don't know about that. like a project dialogue sort of thing. I want to switch one more time.
Yeah, why are your menus all uppercase?
Oh, I know. That's actually a set. Do you know all about the drama there, right?
No.
For a while when I hate this one. I'm sorry. That's not working for me at all. Normally really I'm pretty like I'm gonna go back to
one you had. I think Juicy Plum's way to go.
Yeah. That is so the uppercase thing back in the Windows 8 days, they started making everything uppercase. Like some designer was like uppercase all the menus, and it was just like a stylistic choice. So then they shipped Visual Studio like that, and people hated it. And then they're like, fine, we'll make it an option and we'll disable it by default. But I go in and I change it. So
you change it back? I don't like it.
Uppercase. You don't like it, huh?
Not a fan. This reminds me of the time. Do you remember they redesigned it once and everything looked disabled? You remember this? I forget which version this was. I feel like it was like 2018 or something. Like the whole interface looked disabled.
Do you see uppercase? It should say the words. Apply title case
styling, but it wasn't checked.
There we go.
Oh, there we go.
It's I don't know. It looks kind of boring to me.
It looks it's like every other app.
It's funny because people were like, why is the menu shouting at me? And I'm like, are you really that fragile that like uppercase is like hurting your feelings? I don't know. Like
no, not that it's hurting your feelings, just that it's like, geez, I want to take it down a notch. Take it easy. Right. Write some code.
Okay, this is a little wild to me. This is part of this new design, but when I start it up, if you have all the windows closed, it looks really funky to me. I don't know if this is like on purpose or whatever. Like this looks fine, right? This
right, but when you close the tab,
it's just like big purple area. I'm like, I don't know.
It's apparent in this theme that there's nothing there.
It's just empty.
It's just empty, like empty space. Yeah, there's no widget. There's nothing.
Yep. All right, let's go back here. So this is here. It's building. It's totally going to work. We're overlapping the progress bar. Not a fan. What are you not a fan of, Jason? The new preview UI thing? Or just
Jason, be more
just not a fan in general. Just unhappy.
Okay. I think he's going to say the title, the all caps menu.
Could be.
Guarantee you.
Could be.
Nobody likes it. You might be the only fan.
I kind of like it because I'm just like, I feel like I'm being counterculture a little bit. Like I'm the one guy that's like, I don't care, man. I can do it. Okay. So now I think we want to run the whole thing. We want to run this deal. Is that right?
Yeah, we're going to run it. Yeah.
So I can do a few ways. One is I can do start both. I forget how you set yours. Configure startup projects. And then I can do.
Remember, you have to run through the emulator.
So I think Visual Studio is like, it does it.
Runs it through the emulator?
I think so. You want to find out?
I mean, sure. Okay. No, shortly, because the front end talks over 4280 when it's on the emulator.
Oh. See about this. You can tell it's been a while. We've been doing all this on your machine. So here, Azure Functions Core Tool. So it's running the function,
which is fine, but you got to run the emulator as well. You can, you can just start all this and then run the emulator in a terminal, and it's fine.
That's true too.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Loading, launching function process. Not a fan of the purple. It's possible. I'm like messing with all the things all at once. I like
it's okay for me.
Yeah.
But I hear you, Jason. Jason, you're in purple, by the way.
It's the irony.
All right. As you say, you don't like the purple. Fair enough, though.
Here, this is interesting because it's stuck on this. Launching local function process.
By the way, while this is loading, chat, did you know the McRib is back?
Oh, is it? Is it just totally random? Is there a schedule?
That's the marketing, man. It just shows up. They put a sign up that says McRib is back, and it spreads by word of mouth.
Wow.
And then they take it away after a while. And you go eat a McRib, and you're like, yeah, I don't think so. I don't know why I thought that was a good idea, though.
All right, here, let's just do what you're saying here. So I think, can I blow this up? The one problem is, oh, you know what? This is my moment to shine. I'm going to close this down. I'm going to do terminal preview. The reason I'm doing terminal preview is that I can now show off. I don't know if you can tell, but it's got rainbow borders.
Sergio likes Moonlight Glow.
Moonlight Glow, that's probably a vscode option, right?
I don't know. Let's see.
Moonlight Glow.
Oh, there it is.
That's nice.
It's subtle, Sergio.
It is subtle.
Well, what I've noticed, John, is it's not changing like
it's not changing the editor.
It changes like the Chrome.
The Chrome, yeah. That's true.
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, so I'm here. I'm
Jason,
going to
do you like this better? We just want you to be happy, Jason. Tell us if you like this.
CD. Okay. So now I'm in here. Okay, so you run this normally. I honestly, I don't launch it from here. Do I do SWA?
You do. Yeah. Do you have it installed?
Pretty sure. Ooh, that blew
Whoa, that is some serious ASCII.
It was because I zoomed.
Oh, that took a while. Yeah, so you should be able to do SWA start and then HTTP localhost.
Oh, I have to type all this?
Yeah, you have to tell it where it's, because it doesn't know where your front end's running. It knows where the back end's running, I'm pretty sure. So and then you say localhost 5000.
All right, we'll see about this. Is that a new enough SWA? I think that's been updated, hasn't it?
It's 1.1.4 is new enough. Waiting for 5000 to be ready. Did you not start the front end?
Oh, see, this is also different. I'm used to F5 and it just runs. So now I need to run the front end?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So start new instance without debugging? Sure.
Is it faster if you start without debugging? Like what's the...
That's the main thing. It's faster. So I would normally, I mean, I can mess with this, but normally, okay, wow, that's insane.
Okay, so now open, yeah, it's real big. So now go to a new tab and open up same 4280 for the port.
Oh, okay.
You can do it here too. It doesn't really matter.
Okay. Whatever. 4280.
See if it gotcha.
Loading. Quite slowly though. There it's still. Oh,
yeah, I think. Hold on. This is a problem with the emulator. 1 second.
See, because what I normally do, I'm not sure why it's not working today. I've installed all the new things, but normally I just hit F5 and it just runs.
Yeah, so you need to Control-C this, just stop, because it's going to be so slow that it's just not going to be worth your life. So you're going to want to upgrade this thing to 1.1.6, the newest version. So yeah, just copy that and run it. There's an issue there with that version where It was just taking forever. It didn't matter. It wasn't a Blazor thing. It was a CLI thing. It happened with,
really?
Even with Vue. When I would build a Vue app, it would just take forever. But they fixed it.
It's nice that NPM is generally pretty like just works on Windows. There was a long time where it was not nice.
I remember those days. It's like everywhere you would go back in the day. Well, I say back in the day, like 2010, everywhere you would go, all the install instructions were for Linux. Like everything was like app get this and freaking brew install that. And if you were on Windows, it was just like, I don't know.
Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah.
Or we don't, yeah. All right, it's doing the things. What is reify? I see that a lot.
I see that a lot too. I actually don't know what that is. And I started seeing it. I think it's a Node thing.
All right.
It's like new in Node something.
RxJS.
What are the specs on your machine, man? It looks kind of slow.
You know, it's actually a fast machine, but I just ran Windows Update, or I didn't intentionally run Windows Update. This morning it ran, and everything's going super slow. Let me see if there's something. It's actually a pretty beefy machine.
Is it a laptop?
No, it's a big
desktop. Okay, yeah.
But it's 100 CPU, 100% CPU. What are we doing?
Pegged.
Yeah.
We're doing JavaScript. That's why.
Sounds about right. Okay. Part of it too is streaming, right? Anytime you're sharing your screen, computers.
JavaScript overloaded Jon's CPU. Exactly, man.
Yeah, what are we doing? Let's see what we've got running here. Edge. See, it's the streaming is mostly it.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
40%.
Blow out that option and see which one is consuming the most. It could be the one that you have 52 tabs open. Can that be right?
No. The 52 is something else. Because I've closed down everything else. I've got 4 tabs open. Yeah.
Wow, this is pretty wild, man. You can't even upgrade the CLI. You gotta have problems.
See, it says completed, so that's really weird. I feel like control.
Well, I mean, open a new tab and see what the version of the CLI is. It looks like it's just stuck, but I don't think so.
Okay. Oh boy. Now I have a halfway. There it is.
Okay, so it is there. So now
here, I think it's
really
just, no, but look, it did change. Date functions timing.
I mean, you can try to run it in that other tab then, see if it runs.
All right, here. So do we want 5,000?
Yeah, that's the right one. Yeah.
Okay. I did not expect any of this excitement. I thought I was going to have 5 and I would totally just do the thing. Okay.
Yeah, so you're up and running.
Okay, 4280. Let's do it.
Hopefully this is better now.
Let's check this dude out.
There it is. It's up.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so much faster. Okay, so now it should be proxying your request, and you're gonna have to log in as well at some point, so you can do all that now. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. I like that it says and I can just say yes, right?
Yeah, but you need a user. Yeah, choose a username.
That's pretty neat. Do I need any claims?
No, I don't even know what those do. Claims from the identity provider. I think it's like maybe.
Oh, those are automatically added.
I have no idea what that is.
This is pretty neat. Okay, and then you can't see it because we're up in the corner. Let's move us. So there, I've got this. Oh, and then we do have this.
Yeah, if you hover, we're gonna fix that. We're gonna make that a little nicer. It looks a little sparse.
We can show, we can show the identity provider in an image or something too. We could add a fancy hover.
Oh yeah, we could.
Or we could say, like this thing here, instead of showing a picture, could show like, I don't know, could show a lock, or I don't know, we could show all kinds of stuff.
We could put the username in there as well. I don't know.
Yep. Okay, so now I think we're up to like doing some. So we were proving that it did run on .NET 8.
It appears to, yeah.
Okay.
There's no errors. Yeah.
All right. Wow. F#conf. Why not? Okay.
How's our drag and drop?
So it's like
Beautiful.
butter.
Yeah.
So nice. Okay. So now what we want to do is actually this stuff here.
Well, yeah, and you really don't even have to put a title in. You can just hit publish.
Publish. Okay.
It should work, right? Because if you don't, and really we need to call that vanity. It's not a link title, it's a vanity.
Yeah.
We need to change that. But we're supposed to assign people a random vanity if they don't put one in.
So there I got an error when I hit publish.
Yeah, because
it's
the API failed.
Okay.
If you look in the developer tools, it'll show you that you can see the request, which is probably helpful, so you can see what Blazor is actually sending you.
So go into network.
Yeah.
Links.
There you go.
So there failed.
What's your payload? Look at your payload.
Payload. Okay.
So you're null on the list, which is fine. See, each item has an ID, which we're giving them. We give them goods. The URL's there, but the response.
Preview doesn't work. Okay.
The response from the API is probably going to tell you that no data. Is the API not running?
I think the API is running.
Where did it make the request to?
Oh, wow, that's weird. Okay, it posted to localhost 7071 API links bad gateway.
Go back to your browser though. Go to your headers tab on the request. No, it posted to 4280/API/links, which is correct. So is your API running?
Yeah. So here, but I don't know. Is it running on that?
Well, you got to remember the emulator is proxying all that stuff. The emulator behind the scenes is proxying requests from 4280 over to 7071.
Okay. So I'm not sure if it's running.
And the API is running?
Well, so I did SWA start. Doesn't that also run the function?
No, it doesn't. If you want, it will, but you have to add in a little bit extra. What I would recommend doing is just start your API from Visual Studio.
Got it.
Because that's where you want to debug anyway.
Yeah. So what I've done in the past is I'll do that startup projects and I'll just run both. But I'm not sure what.
Yeah, you can totally do that here and then just run the emulator on top of all that.
Okay. Okay. So does the static web app emulator run the function or just the static web app? Does that make sense what I'm asking?
Yeah, so it will do pretty much anything that you want it to do, right? So it will start and manage those processes for you if you want it to. But in Visual Studio, it doesn't really make sense to do that. In Visual Studio, you might as well just start the solution, start both projects with the debugger attached, and then keep your emulator running in another window. And all the emulator is doing is it's proxying 4280 over to 5000, right? So you're basically like a window on top of your running application. It's handling all the HTTP requests so that the thing behaves like it's in static web apps. That's it. It's just like this thin, simple layer. You don't really have to think much about it. You just kind of start it, and then you just worry about the 4280.
So I'm not sure what's going on here because it's saying it's stuck on this launching local functions process.
No job functions found.
Maybe I did break it by going to .NET 8. What do you think?
Haha.
For detailed output, run func with verbose flag. I mean, I could also run the function from command line instead of from.
Yeah, you can do a func start.
F5. Okay, let's do that. And then if this is going to be a pain, then I can just switch back to. Okay, so let's open a new. Okay, so let's do. Where are we?
Yeah.
Oops.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me see. So I want to go to CD API, and then func start.
We already said we're using VS 2022, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Right. That's the question.
Yeah, I'm using VS 2022. I don't know if that was the question.
I think it was.
All right.
And Jason's happy, which is good.
Good.
At the end of the day.
Okay, it's exciting. Let's see. If the function doesn't start, easy enough to roll back. Good old, I can do get changes and go back. And I haven't done anything yet.
Maybe it's so slow because you got all this blinking accoutrements around your terminal. All these.
It's possible. I think honestly, whenever you're sharing your screen on a live stream, your computer, like, it takes half the CPU. It's crazy.
Did you close Teams?
I didn't close. Did I close Teams? Did not close Teams.
Other question added in chat. What other question did you add in?
Yeah, I don't see another question from you. Because that, I don't know why Skype's. I only get spam on Skype these days. Okay, no job functions found. Try making your class, job classes and methods public. Okay, so let's check that out. Maybe I messed that up. Maybe this is a change in .NET 8 that I did not see. Okay, let's go here. Let's go here. That is public.
It's public.
All right, I guess I'm gonna have to roll back, huh?
I mean, I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, it's all sad. Well, if it doesn't work, yeah, that's public. It's all public. One other thing it recommended was Builder. Make sure to startup code. Builder.add Azure storage, add service bus, add timers. Okay.
But we don't need any of that stuff.
Yeah. I don't think so. All right, I guess we'll roll back. That's sad. Well, it was worth a quick shot, and then maybe this is something I'll play with on another thing. And if this doesn't work, I don't know what. Okay, so let's go. Let us revert all the stuff. Changes, and I want to go there. Oh, let's stop everything first so it doesn't blow up.
You can leave the emulator running. It won't hurt the emulator.
All right. There's some new stuff in Visual Studio 2 for pull requests. Again, very similar feeling to like VS Code, but it's kind of nice. Okay, so now let's see what happens. Let's build it. Build started. There's also a new thing. For some reason, they did it. It's Visual Studio only. It's not a .NET option, but it does a faster rebuild where it like something about it can see what files have changed and which files haven't, and it only rebuilds stuff that it needs to, which is supposedly faster. Okay, so I guess it's done now. So now let's go. Oh no, it's still building. Building. Done building client. Okay. All right. A little nervous. So here, let's go to. Don't I need to restart this?
No. Just start the front end in the API.
Okay. Okay, so where am I here? Okay, so first I like to start the API first. It just feels better to me. Come on, you know, do I need to update my function tools also? You know what I mean? The func start.
Oh, yeah. For .NET 8, I would imagine.
Yeah. That could have been it.
There we go.
Okay. So there's my function. You know what, Burke? I bet that's what I did wrong. Let me check real quick if I can quickly upgrade my function tools. Azure tools. Just because if I'm like, okay. Yeah, totally right.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Okay, so Windows. I already have tools. This is the one right here, right? Okay.
Can you just update this from the command line?
I don't know. For some reason, it's like run the installer. Windows is all about installers. That's interesting. It's brew, curl. Everybody's in their own little worlds. Curl and sudo, and here we got brew. Here we got just run this installer. We're like, we don't on Windows. They're like, we don't trust you to run a brew command. Just click next.
Yeah.
I do want to, regardless, I do want to make sure this is up to date.
What's your current version?
Oh, I don't know. Okay, that's a good question. Func. It is current version is this it?
Yeah, 4.0.5348.
5348. Okay, and what's happening here? 5455.
Dude, that's a real minor.
Is it minor?
It's very minor. I mean, it's not that it's not an update, but that's a minor release just by the semantic
minor
version.
to minor, right? Yeah.
But how do you know like what's in the release?
It's hard. Yeah. Oh, that's a good point too. We do have on Windows, we do have Winget. I do find on Winget it's a little hard to actually find stuff. Like the docs don't tell you about it. Winget feels like I love Winget, but it's like kind of slowly moving ahead. Do you use Winget much?
No, I never use it.
It's supposed to be like the command line installer for Windows. I love the idea. I just fight with it a bit more than I wish I needed to. I might need to stop this just because it's going to explode on me. So I'm not going to bother with upgrading .NET 8. It really doesn't matter either way. I will after the call. I'll try it, and I bet you it's the tools. But that's cool. That's cool.
Why doesn't .NET 8 work in Azure UK South?
I just saw this come up. Yeah, I just saw this come up yesterday. .NET 8 is stable. It's fully released. I also like it is a huge deal to roll it out across all of Azure, and it is supposed to be deployed everywhere. So last I saw, Brady Gaster was like, "Well, I'm looking into it and stuff." So it's supposed to be rolled out everywhere, though.
Well, if it's not working in the UK, it's definitely Brady Gaster's fault.
It's right. Brady is like one of these, like he's always watching and he's always like, ping me, and then he's like finding stuff out. So I don't even know like what exactly
Brady.
I'm just like, if in doubt, go get Brady. He's like my Azure buddy. Okay, validating install. I do feel like Windows installers, it's like, what are you doing with all the like? We should just be copying some files. I don't know why we're computing space requirements.
Yeah, it's just copying files from one place and or in beating up your registry.
Yeah. Whenever there's a tool, Regmon, which monitors register rights, and to freak yourself out on Windows and to understand why battery life is not great, like run that thing and do anything, especially like go through your Explorer. It's like the amount of registry calls it does is insane. It's like, I don't even know what all they're doing. But I
this
should
is taking a long time though, man. I mean, your machine is clearly.
So it just rebooted. I'm almost certain this is from sharing my screen, because like I was coding on here last night and it was speedy. Look at that, 100 CPU, video capture. Look at that, it's all video capture.
Just need a beefier video card.
That's maybe possibly it. And then I could mine Dogecoins too a lot faster. Okay, removing files.
I bought some Dogecoin a while back.
I did for a joke, and then it like shot up, and I'm like, "What? I'm rich!" And then now it's all.
I sold mine.
I didn't sell mine.
I didn't make a ton of money. I made a ton of money based on what I invested, but I invested like $100.
Yeah,
it was not a lot. And in other news, chat, I invested a significant amount more in other cryptocurrencies like Ripple, Litecoin, and then some like Funfair that you've never even heard of. All that stuff is worthless now, right? I lost all that. And it was a non-trivial amount.
But the Dogecoin worked.
It did, but I think I made $1,000 on $100. Okay. I don't want to talk about how much I've lost on those other crypto investments. It's not even close to break even.
Oh my gosh. Okay, come on.
You too. Don't feel bad.
Yeah. This okay.
This is pretty nuts, man. I say
it's almost done. It's so close.
You sure? All right.
Yeah. Okay, while it's doing that, I'm going to look at what I'm going to do next. So the next things in here is I want to update the Save Links API. And in Save Links, we need the user ID, right? And the user ID, we're going to want to get that from. So it's in Save Links. This is the spot right here where we're going to want to parse the headers. Does that sound right?
Yes.
And I think we want to do it after we already have a valid link bundle, because there's no point doing the work. I guess it doesn't really matter. You know what I'm saying? We don't need to know who the user is until we're sure that they've actually posted valid links.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't care.
All right, so that is done. Okay, so now I'm going to try running it real quick just because. And then we've run everything. We've tested running the site. We've run everything, right?
We ran the API. Did we run the front end too?
We ran the front end. We ran the back end. We had trouble saving because the function wasn't working. So yeah, so now we should be able to run everything.
Yeah, Marcus, the vanity link is like, that's the idea behind the site, is that it gives you a vanity link to a list of other links. So if you had like the URL list /Marcus, it has your links, right? Or however many lists you have. But yeah.
Yeah.
That's
okay,
what the vanity
so
is.
Here I should be able to go to localhost 4280.
Yeah.
All right. Now we should see functions are running.
Yep, that's your emulator.
So that's that one. And then this is, let's close that out. This is, okay, good. So now I should be able to go here. I'm logged in already. Let's go to Google.
Yeah, exactly, Marcus. It's just a list of links, and you can have multiples, right? So you could have the urls.com /Marcus-favor-links, and that's a different list. Then you can manage them all with the app.
Link list. All right, and then I'll go publish.
That's going to fail. Whoa.
So it didn't fail. So let's see.
I didn't fail. No, it did fail. It got a 500.
So we're not handling that in the thing. So let's see what happens here. Let's go network. Let's go publish links.
There it goes. Now it failed.
Whoa. What did I click on?
Yeah, you don't want to click on the script.
Okay, so now if I click on that, now if I go to
payload.
So it's not sending a description.
Yeah, but that may be because the first one failed. So refresh the page and try it again.
Some extension I've got is doing weird things to me. I'm not sure what is up. I refresh pages with the inspector open. It's like very unhappy.
Very slow?
No, it like doesn't render. I think it may be, I have this like open graph extension installed. Now what's it doing?
Nothing.
Okay. Loading.
There we go. Jeez,
okay.
Man.
Google. Okay. So now I'll do Facebook. Okay.
Before you hit publish, though,
open
your
the
developer tools. Yeah, so we can see it when it happens.
Yep. Okay. So there we are. Now hit publish. Now we go here.
There's your payload.
So it has links. It has no user ID, no vanity URL, blah, 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 blah. And then response. No response. So I think, and then here, internet disconnected. I think, is it not rendering?
What do you mean?
I'm wondering if it's the proxy stuff, and I don't know if it's necessary to run. Like, if what I would normally do is just run the function and run, like, not worry about the, like, I would run this under 5,000.
Right, but the problem is you won't be able to look at the username. You won't get a username. So go back to your headers.
Headers, okay.
And what's the response that you're getting here?
So
the response code, rather.
So headers response.
If you
no response.
Yeah, but what's the error? Is it a 500? Is it a 404? What is it? You can look in your emulator. It'll tell you.
Okay. I'm realizing now.
What's 500?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Everything is erroring. It's a server error. It's not a 404.
Okay. So
if you go to try this, try just going over to the application.
Well, what if I do this? Breakpoint, because it's running a debug, right?
Yeah, so it should hit it. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if it'll hit it now. Yeah, it should have hit it. No.
Okay.
And go over to your.
Is it? Oh, because I did func start. I didn't run it in debug from this machine.
Shouldn't matter. But here, what you do this. Do this. Go back to your terminal, to where you're running the API.
Yep.
Oh, but yeah, I see what you mean. It didn't set the debugger.
I'm not running in debug from Visual Studio, and I think I can do that now. Except it won't be running with the. Yeah, it'll still run with the function emulator. Won't it?
It will be, yes.
Yeah. I do think what Marcus is saying is right, is that like I can't, well, I'm not sure. If I've got an unhandled exception on the page, still posting, I think should still run it, but I'm not certain.
It's posting bad data, but yeah, it should still hit the...
It's still continuing to post. So I think what I can do, what I would like to do is stop the function running here. See, this is interesting. Get links succeeded.
Save links, programmatically called.
Succeeded.
See? So kill it here, run it in Visual Studio,
Yeah.
and then try it again, and you should be able to grab hit the breakpoint.
Okay. So this is interesting. I'm realizing I've run functions a lot of times, never with the authentication. So I haven't needed to use that. Okay, now I'm remembering we didn't run this from here because it was failing because I didn't have the tools, but now it's working. Should go. Yay, I've got the tools updated. Should be good, right?
Let's see. You're up and running.
Yeah, okay. So now let's go here. Now let's go here. So it's still erroring there. If I go in here, this is frustrating.
It's not being hit. Okay, hold on. Give me a second here.
That's not going to run. That's... I could stop and restart the front end and run it.
Okay, this is what you need to do. You need to go to your emulator. Bit of a different command here for you.
Okay.
So kill your emulator. First of all, is it running in Visual Studio?
The function is running in Visual Studio.
What about the front end?
Nope.
It's not. Run them both in Visual Studio. Run them just like you normally would if you weren't using the emulator.
Okay. So I'll go here. I will stop. So what I normally do in Visual Studio is I would go configure startup projects. Configure startup projects. I would go multiple startup projects. I would go, I don't know why it's not listing them there. It's because it's functions. See, normally I would, this is weird.
Yeah, Gregory, you're right about this actually. And
yeah,
somewhere we should try to get to in the future.
See, normally, I'm not sure. It's something to do with the way that it does specifically with static web apps. Because normally you can go in with, if you have multiple projects, an API and a front end, you right click, you do configure startup projects, and then it'll show here. Here it gives me the option of single startup. Normally, if you go multiple startup, it lets you add them, and they're listed right out of the thing. So oh, there it is. So here now, if I say start, I'll do client start without debugging. I'll do them both start. And then here, I think I can just do. Okay. Yes. All right. So now I should be able to do this. This is an interesting thing to work through. Okay.
All right. There's one.
And now, because it's launched from Visual Studio, I should be able to go in here and make sure I've got my debug hit. All right.
Now you need to go start the emulator in a slightly different way.
Okay.
So head
Does
over
it attach to the existing one?
I'm sorry. Well, we're gonna restart it and configure it a little differently. Is 5,000 gonna load for you though? Looks like it's
I'm
trying
not sure.
So that's it. So right here.
So here's all the different things running. 18. I'm not sure which of these is running here. I close the windows that aren't working. Just closing off the old ones here.
Yeah, there it is. That's the front end.
So it looks like they're all going. There's 5,000.
Right, so go to your emulator.
So the emulator wasn't running. So
right. So here you're gonna do swa start just like that. Now you're gonna do space dash dash.
Localhost 5,000 is still good.
Yep. You're gonna go dash dash API dash dev server.
Do I do a dash after like this or
altogether dev server dash URL space?
Ooh.
And you're gonna put in the URL of your functions, which is localhost 7071.
Okay. This is pretty cool if it works.
If it
That's neat. Okay, so that makes sense. This is saying I've already launched everything. I'm running it. And then static web app.
There we go. Now your API is up.
Okay.
Now try it.
Okay. Oh my goodness.
You're still on 5,000 though. You're going to want to go to 4280.
Okay. Look at it go. It's working so hard.
It's a lot faster than this normally, but your machine is under a lot of duress.
Okay, so Coding Gorilla is saying, isn't static web app just a web server? So static web app is, and you can correct me here, Burke, but it's kind of hooking a few things together. It's hooking together Azure functions for the back end, and then the front end is static files being hosted out of Azure storage.
That's right. With an authentication layer in there. There's also edge delivery, so it puts stuff on a CDN. It's doing quite a few things.
Yeah,
and it is just a web server is kind of a.
It's pretty, and so a good question here is like, why would you use this? And because it is more complicated, but it's super cheap, right? Because it's hosting static files and then Azure Functions for compute is like almost free. It's like, I mean, that is a good thing about it, right? So it's doing something, one of them. This is where, which one should be, this should be the static web app. It is going. It's doing the auth stuff. Would .NET Aspire work in this scenario? Not really. So Aspire is more for, they talk about like cloud native apps. It's mostly for containerized apps. So Aspire is really good for, like, let's say you've got a container with an API, you've got another container with a front end, you've got, say Postgres or Redis or whatever running in another container. And it's really good for gluing them all together. And then it gives you a really nice dashboard, which is neat. Okay, so I'm logged in, but it's a different model. Okay, So there's that. Okay. Let's do Facebook. Okay. Now for the big moment of truth. Let's make sure if I've got this set. I've got that set. I'm running in debug. This should work, right, Burke?
I think so.
Okay. Should I have inspect open? I guess I might as well just. Although, yeah. Okay. Let's get on the network tab. Okay. Publish.
Boom.
Okay, something happened. Oh, I can.
So now you can.
Now I can step through this. Goodness me, that was more. Okay, so let's go. Step into logger. Okay. Reading through all the things. Validate the payload. What is valid is true. Things are looking good so far. Ensure vanity URL. So this says if it's null or white space, then we create. I actually optimized this code too, by the way. I had something up. It doesn't really matter, but it bugged me. This is a slight aside, but it bugged me that this characters thing is a little strange.
Yeah.
So there it can be. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but it can be cleaned up slightly. Okay. So here. Okay. So it's picking 7 random characters. What do we get? What's our lucky code? Okay. Looking good. That's actually, there's nothing that, I don't love this because there's nothing that makes sure that's not a duplicate, by the way.
Yep.
But okay. So here it checks and makes sure it's valid, which it is. Now oh, maybe this is where it died, going to Cosmos. Is this still the correct stuff? Not sure. I should be reading this out of environment variables too. Do you remember offhand what the Cosmos container is?
It should be correct. Let me double check.
Okay. Can create item async.
Looking.
Okay, so that's where it was dying. Yeah, Marcus saying we could put in a GUID. There's a lot of ways. There's another pattern where you can just basically take a GUID and you take the first 8 characters or whatever of a GUID.
So why is it dying?
Okay, so status code is bad request from Cosmos.
Hold on, I'll be right back while you pee.
Okay. Cosmos is saying status code does not 400, blah, blah, blah. Input is invalid because required properties. Sorry, this is tiny here. Let's see if I can zoom on this. Nope. As soon as I hit Windows, it's okay. I will tell you what the things are, or I can pin it. Let's do that. Pin. There's a Visual Studio. Oh my gosh, I don't want diagnostics. Everything's exploding today. Close it. Don't want diagnostics window. I haven't accept. Oh, here it is. And I'll be able to zoom this. Okay. Status code, blah, 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 is invalid because, just tell me why. It's like I'm clicking through 90 dialogues. It's missing an ID. Oh, Burke. I get to yell at Burke when he gets back. Howdy, Joseph. So the problem here, this is actually, Burke, this is funny. This is like foreboding from this is a Chekhov's gun scenario from a previous one. The ID is missing.
Missing the ID, yes.
And the ID before we were setting it, and then we're like, nah, it'll always be set in the client. But something's not setting that ID, so that was the deal.
So the
ID needs to be set, and we went back and forth on this. I'm not sure where we were.
You can just make it a good.
So yeah, but it's weird because shouldn't we always have that? So I was doing in the link bundle.
Yeah, just make the ID a good.
So before we said we can't do it a GUID for a reason. I forget what. We were saying just set it to a new GUID when we set this.
Yeah, because why not? We don't even really care what the ID is.
Yeah. So that
vanity is what identifies the list as being unique. The ID.
Yeah. I agree. We changed this kind of recently, I believe, where we had at one point it said equals new GUID or whatever, and then we changed it to not do that, and I forget why. So now I can go back here and I could basically say if here we have the link document, we parse the thing. We have a link bundle. I could say if link bundle.id. Why don't I do this?
Why not just put it on the model though? That way it's always there, right? Whenever it gets created, it's always there.
And we did at one point, and then we pass it to you. We removed it at one point, and I forget why. So I could just say equals new
equals GUID dot, what is it? GUID dot create GUID dot new GUID or something. I don't know.
Yeah, like
it's on the, because we're already doing this on the link class.
Like that.
Something like that. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, and that should be fine. I think the reason why, John, the reason why we said we weren't going to do it here is because we were like, well, the client will send the ID. Yeah, well, in order to send the ID from the client needs an ID to send.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? Like the ID is created here by the client when it initializes this new object. But before, because we started with the API.
Yeah, you're right. What I do, okay. I see what you're saying. In this case, though, why didn't the client set the ID and pass it back? Why? And when we rehydrated it from JSON, why wasn't it there already? You know what I'm saying? Why didn't the payload have an ID in the
because request? it wasn't adding one anywhere. It never was. It was always null. Yeah.
All right. So I should be able to this swap proxy is still running, which is fine.
Yeah.
I think if I just restart everything, it should go.
Should be fine.
All right. Let's see about this. It was exciting. This was like 90% was setting up my environment to be able to debug.
You're supposed to do that before the stream, John.
It's frustrating because I spent all this time working on the API and I was like, this is totally okay. API is going to be no problem. I didn't realize we needed to run under the proxy because of auth. Okay. And here, 4280. Okay. And now I'm frustrated too because I know that my .NET 8 update would have worked.
Would it?
It totally would.
We actually had this conversation right before the stream. I was like, "Are you sure?"
Yeah, but all those errors still were there after. It was because I needed, I think, to update the tools. I don't know. Let's see. All right, Marcus, you're with me. Solidarity. Okay. Okay, things are running, stuff is happening. Let's do the login. I noticed, by the way, a small thing on the front end. We're not doing the redirect URLs back to, we're only doing the redirect URLs for Twitter, not for Facebook.
Oh, we're not doing them for the others? Okay.
Yeah, that's minor, but. Okay, logged in. This is another place where I want to automate some of this testing, just because clicking through and doing everything like this is like a little repetitive.
Yes, it is.
Okay. I'm going to this time actually send this back. Okay. Publish. Okay. Let us set the breakpoint to, we already know all this stuff's going to work. So we'll set the next breakpoint to there. Let's go continue. Wonderful. Oh, did you validate that is correct? The container is the URL list and link.
Yeah, that's right. All this is correct. Yeah.
Good, good, good. Okay. So let's go there. We do, and we're doing partition key on vanity URL, but I think we could partition on the username once we get that set up, but I don't know. Doesn't really matter.
Looks pretty good.
Oh, did it? Oh my gosh. That was it.
Well, now it's in use. It's because we're not handling the, like, after it gets created, we need to handle like what happens next, which is,
or maybe it was already in you. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
Okay, cool.
Well, you could test this. So like grab this link title, this vanity, and then open a new tab and do 4280/ that noise right there. And you should get back the list that you just created.
I don't know if get links is set up there.
It should work. I've been working with it.
Okay.
It should be
Marcus, by the way, is right. Playwright, we could totally playwright the heck out of this. And Playwright does work well with static web apps and stuff.
Oh yeah, it's perfect. It's, in fact, the whole functional testing really came about because of static app front-end apps that are difficult to test with unit testing.
Oh, did I do? No. Okay. So it's doing the
It's right. It's just taking forever because, oh wait, is it still debugging over there? Did it hit a breakpoint?
I don't think so. Because my breakpoint is on the update, not on the get. So I'm not sure what's happening there. It's on get, it's proxying.
What does your other tab say, the API tab?
Okay, let's see. So I can close that.
It's here in this terminal. This is the front end.
Okay, front end. Here's the back end. Get links succeeded.
I think your computer's just slower than Christmas.
Could be, but
that's insane.
I think we have tested this front end stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, I can run it on my end and tell you whether or not that's actually there. Of course, I don't know. You could not have made a worse vanity for me to try to.
Well, it wasn't the plan.
I know. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
I can send it to you. I'm sending it in the here. I mean, I could kill this and restart it. Oh my goodness. I cannot tell you how much I despise this screen. Okay. Well, regardless. Okay.
I'm firing it up on my end. I'll tell you if it's there. What did you team it to me?
I sent it to you in StreamYard.
In StreamYard chat? Okay.
Yep. Okay. Okay, it keeps saying get. It's not saying, it's saying proxy. It's weird that it doesn't say a response. So that's the front end. Wait, that's the back. So it keeps saying it succeeded. So it's succeeding in the client. Or I mean, it's succeeding in the function. It's not showing on the front end. So that shouldn't, I don't know that I need to worry about that. You check it on your side. I'm going to keep moving on.
It's there.
It's there. Okay.
Yeah, it works.
Okay. Weird.
It's up. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. So that works. So now what we want to do is actually do what we wanted to start with, which is the digging out the username in the save links. So if I go into save links, and I was hoping to do the, so I can do this after the ensure that it's a good thing. So now I want to do get username from static web app. So we're pulling
it's get the username and provider from the claims principal is what you're trying to do.
Yeah. And so the code for that in the docs is this. No, is this, right?
I mean, I have no idea. I've never done this in C#.
Oh, okay. So this is what the docs say for API functions for getting from the stuff. So I should be able to say header. So I went through some stuff before with getting stuff out of the headers, and it is this header. So let me see if I have that already in there.
Should you just bring that whole class over and just use that whole class?
Yeah, the problem is reading from headers is funky here in functions.
Yeah, it doesn't, you're not actually getting the same object that they want you to pass.
Yeah. So let me see if this works by copying just the name of the header. So I'll say get claims principal from header and just see if it happens to work for me. Oh, that was I had stuff for Open Graph. That seems, oh, that's interesting. First or default. That's not right, I don't think, because, oh, it is.
Why not just pull that whole block there? Yeah.
Okay. Keep opening that. So the problem is that the headers is not the same thing. It's a different header collection. I worked through this a few months ago.
So what did Copilot suggest? Because you're close.
Yeah. Okay.
You can just put some line breaks. Just put some line breaks between the comment and the block, and then go back up. Hit it again. Okay, hit it again.
Match?
What? No, now it's all confused.
Okay. That's weird because before it was all okay. Let's do Control Z's.
You can just copy that block and just get it out of there. So it rec.headers is not a thing, or you can't do try get.
Well, this seems to work. Yeah, I think it's the try get was the problem.
So put that code back though.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I'm curious, or at least go back to it because I'm curious about what it's doing. Okay, so it's saying the data is in the header. Convert it from base 64. convert it to JSON and then serialize it to the principal, which you need to do, right? So
Yeah.
if try get value is not there, what is there?
So here it is. I think I can basically replace try get value with
first or default.
First or default is so this is saying read the header, right?
Exactly, but I'm just saying, like, what do you have to do it that way?
I think basically we combine these two together.
So what are your options?
How you doing? So
what are your options off of headers here? That's what I'm saying. Like, does it have to? What are the other options besides first or default?
Okay. So I think we could just basically use that first or default, read the value, and then so get value.
So they just have removed try get value from headers?
Try
get values.
That's interesting. Okay, so they just renamed try get. Okay, is this going to work?
Really?
That's
well now, but now header is not a. What is header now?
Header is an IEnumerable. That's weird.
So you can't say header.0 anymore? Header sub 0 won't work?
Header is an IEnumerable.
Cannot apply indexing to an expression type IEnumerable. So then what? It's header first or default.
This is silly.
This is silly.
Okay. So now principal, we don't want principal. We can use your type that you set up before. Right?
It is using that, right? You just need to declare outside of this block a client principal that it can assign to.
Oh, okay. So I can say just principal. I could say var principal. Right?
Yes, that is true. But then what you have to do is check later on and see, is the principal empty or is it populated? And if it's only defined within the if, then you won't be able to do that later on, right? Like the thing may not even exist.
Right, but what I'm saying is if it doesn't exist, we pop right out. We fail. Or
no, because you want to, because it could be empty. Okay. It's fine to save an anonymous.
Okay. So I'll say whatever.
Yeah.
I do. Okay.
And in theory, you should now be able to say if the principal is not null, and then you can tack on the username and provider.
Yeah, so we want to do something slightly different here. I agree. So we want to do username equals, and then we need to hash them too, right? So there's a few things we've got.
Actually, John, you're going to love me for this.
Okay.
You don't actually want to do any of this.
Okay.
Here's the reason why. You are going to want to do this. Let me rephrase.
Okay.
There is a point at which you're going to want to do this, and that is when the user says, "Give me my links." Mm-hmm. Give me my links, or delete this list of links that I have. You need to verify that the user requesting that is actually the user that's signed in. And that's when you would run this code. But for our purposes, I should be passing you this value from the front end.
That's what I was asking earlier. I was thinking.
That's what and yes, that you're right. I was wrong.
Okay, so, but I'm confused because for saving, why do you need to, it's maybe more secure, whatever. Why do you need to pass that to me? I can read that on the server without you including it in your.
Oh, that's API. A good point. And from the front end, anybody could dummy that up anyway.
Right. And somebody, I mean, it's not like it really matters. They're social logins, but somebody could say, oh, this is being saved by GitHub Jon Galloway or Twitter Jon Galloway.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right.
So I think this is good to read off the header.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so, the way I said it was a giant security hole.
Okay, so the principal user details, what does it hold?
It holds
a string.
Just a string. So it's the username.
Oh, it's the username, but we also want the identity profile.
That's correct. Profile.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, we're like flying along now. So this is user detail. I'm going to change this to user details because I want it to. Oh, but it is. You're right. It is the username
inside of the URL list currently.
Provider.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, why did it have? Where did this local username?
Well, because you declared up there when you were trying to get the header, it declared a username. That's not actually what you want here. You're trying to compose a new object, I believe, that has.
Yeah. And so what we want to do is concatenate them and hash it, we think.
Well,
we can do header. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So I think what we want to do is,
or you just add a new field that says provider to the database.
Yeah, and
it is a document database. It doesn't care.
You're right. I guess the deal is, and this is where we need to talk bigger. Oh, we're over on time, but whatever. We need to figure out how we want to save things. So in the past, we've saved everything using a hashed username.
No, it's just a clear text username in the current database.
I don't think so. Is it? Because when I looked at the code for these.
And because the code is not, we were heading in that direction.
Oh, okay.
Because we were trying to get back email addresses and we can't store email addresses.
Okay. Okay. So that's why I was looking in here at the code in here and I'm like, oh, this is using a hasher and it's using a
none of that's live.
None of that's live. Okay.
No.
This is good information. So do we want to hash it? And it would be good to hear from chat too. Like, so if we're storing in the document database, does it matter if it's hashed? It's not secrets. They're usernames. Would it be, so we're not storing a password. We're only storing the provider and the username associated with the link bundle. Okay, let's say I have an embarrassing link bundle. All my favorite Barbie animated movies. And I'm very embarrassed. I never want anyone to know that I watch all the Barbie movies. Would that be bad if that leaked if somebody looks up my URL list of all the best Barbie movies, it still does that get my username and password? I don't think it does.
No, but I guess there's this sort of like this, there's sort of two ways to look at this. Is it technically bad? No. However, does it tell you anything about the user at all? Does it tell you anything about the user?
Social auth username.
It tells you the platform and their username for that platform. In this case, I don't think that it's going to violate any sort of like compliance standard, but I would be for hashing it. I don't think that we should be storing any data about any person that isn't hashed. You have to store the data. The least you can do is hash it so that if it does leak, people get nothing.
Okay, now the one trade-off there is, can we still look up if some user is like, hey, I lost access to my account, I need this thing. We could say, okay, give me your username and provider, and then we could hash that, and then we could
you have to have a tool to do it.
But we could do it, right? As long as we had the hash.
Right. You just couldn't go to the database and run a straight up.
That was the one trade-off. I was struggling with this. I was going through different scenarios last night on this. I was like, I think it is better to hash as long as it's a recoverable.
So here's an interesting one. Like, what if somebody makes a URL list of all their banks, right? Not that you should do this. This would be a bad thing to do, but people could do this, right? And so this is a good point. Yeah. We could help people by obscuring it, so at least they don't know whose it is exactly.
Okay. I actually there's
the links could contain personal information associated to you.
Okay, that makes sense. There's a backstory on the Barbie movies, McGill. The story here is I actually did a co-presentation with Scott Hanselman. We were pair programming on my computer. And I have 3 daughters, and I was searching for a bunch of Barbie dolls because they were young kids at the time, and on Amazon. And he started typing on my computer, and it started auto-completing a huge list of Barbie things, Barbie dolls. And he like zoomed in on it and like made a lot of fun of it. So
yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail your Barbie story.
No, that's about it. Yeah.
So here's the deal. The reason why this is a problem for us is because we're dealing with a legacy situation. And the legacy situation is that we had Twitter auth. It is working. And so people that currently log in and use the URL list, when we migrate to this new system, we will have no way of knowing who they are and associating them back to their old lists. And so the only option we really have is to create some new UI element that says, when you go to my list, it says, where are my lists, right? And that allows you to contact us and give us your credentials in some way, right? Tell us who you are so that we can go in the back end and update the database. Now, this is not a great setup, but we don't really have a better way to do this.
Well, okay, we can assume everything existing is a Twitter username.
Yes. Oh, that's true. So we can just do Twitter dash on every single one of those and then hash them.
Yeah.
Except for that, Twitter auth is never going to work again with static web apps.
Right.
Because
maybe.
No, it's never going to work again.
I mean, probably not. I still think that.
You think they're going to
Deutsche Bank going to repossess it from Elon Musk and then open it all.
I mean, we might be able to figure out how to make it work. The current message is scary though. Like if you go to the site, like our production site right now, and you try to log in, it's basically like due to the changes in terms of service.
And it is scary. Also with like if you go to this, it's like sorry.
There it is.
Yeah.
Can't continue to support it as part of the pre-configured. If you want to continue to use X, update your app configuration to use a custom provider. Okay, so we can do that. And when we do that, then you're right. Then we will get back to same claims info and we'll know exactly who those people are. And we don't skip a beat. So that's awesome.
Now, going to, I think Gil said it, but somebody said you could store email, but we actually don't get an email. And even if we do, I think that's one thing we don't want to store.
We do not want that. And actually an email would be
preferable. Potentially.
It would be preferable. And the reason why is because then people usually use the same email across accounts.
Yeah.
And so we could hash it and store it. And that's the best possible solution. Static web apps does not give us the email address.
So here's one thing we could do. We could store right. And then we could also store, we could either do that, or the lazy way would be to assume if it doesn't have a provider at the beginning,
it's Twitter.
But the problem is none of them are hashed. We're going to have to update the database anyhow.
I mean, it's easy enough to do, right? Is to just go through and say for every single username, just append Twitter to the front.
So Gil's asking, can we request the email as part of the claim? I don't know. Does functions provide that?
That's a great question.
Is like, I don't know what claims are available. Custom authentication claims. Claims.
Is there a way to access multiple claims?
So, yeah, I don't know. I kind of, so also like leaking. So yeah, this is what everything provides, right? So it's like Twitter. This is for configuring the secrets. I don't know what claims are available. I think it's going to be different by different things. And I kind of feel like you don't want to leak email. Among the things I would not want to store in a database is a bunch of email addresses.
Yeah, that's like the number one thing. But it would be nice to have it and hash it.
Yeah.
So I think client principal data. So this is the client principal data is identity provider user ID. This value is unique on a per app basis.
Yeah.
For instance, the same user returns a different user ID value on a different static web app resource. The value persists over the lifetime of a user.
So that's tempting, right?
User details, username or email address of the user. Some providers return the user's email address while others send the user handle. It doesn't say which one, so there's no way to request it.
I think we're safer just using this here, right? Provider dash whatever, and then hash it.
I've never seen an email address in a static web apps claim, so I'm not even convinced it even exists. But yeah.
Okay. So are we good with this then? Hash those values. So,
or I mean, or do we store them as two different columns?
Oh, look at this here. Okay. Do we need to hash? And so we decided we do want to hash them. We need to hash the username. We don't need to hash the provider. Can we go through then? Would we like just run a console app, update the existing database, add a column to each one? Or we can assume if the provider's not found, it's Twitter.
I mean, we do need to run some sort of process to update all those usernames. The question is just going forward, what does it look like? I think the provider should be a separate column.
Okay. So then that means we need to update the link bundle provider, right?
Yeah.
So here.
No, sorry. Yes, you're right.
Okay. So here, I was hoping it would. Here, what I'm going to do here is I think actually now, I'm not sure if I can start getting rid of these user property names. There was something that was going to be an update. Okay, so here I can do provider.
Yeah.
And provider.
Uppercase provider.
Okay. And so then I can go in here and I don't need that. And then I can say link bundle. So I can basically update directly here, right? I don't even need a separate variable. I can just say link bundle.provider equals blah, blah, blah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, but it's not link bundle. It's like lowercase. Okay. And excuse me. Here I need to hash. So that's a whole nother thing. Hash the username. And I'm curious what it, interesting. So we actually
256. It's a 256 SHA. That's pretty hefty.
Okay. So then I can say link bundle user.
But what is your hash? What's your hash? Oh no, it's a one-way. It's a one-way hash. Don't you need a hash phrase?
So that is in here where we were going with this was not that. So this is slightly different.
This looks like a rain doll. Why not just use his hasher?
Use
the key and the salt are in the environment variable, which we're going to need anyway.
Okay. All right. So we'll copy that into, and we only need that in the function, right?
Yes. We don't care about it.
Add class.
Why did Visual Studio just post djangosnippets.org?
Wait, what? Oh, I don't know. You know what? We may have gotten kicked off of.
Oh, is that what's happening? I bet you, yeah, Don. I bet you Don's up right now. Sorry, Don.
So I think we're kicked off of.
So are we still on YouTube?
I think we're just.
There's 103 people kicking it with us. So.
This is ridiculous. Okay. Some good old fashioned code.
You need to change the namespace. It's not linking link anymore. That was the.
Yeah. So it is.
It's Blazor
namespace API. That's wonderful. Okay.
That was the, what do they call that? Code name.
Yep.
Still live on Twitch. So wait, we're getting 106 people from Twitch, Marcus? Are we on YouTube?
We're still on Visual Studio Twitch. 75 people are watching on Twitch.
youtube.com/Visual Studio.
We may be, nobody had said they were good, but we don't always coordinate with the Visual Studio.
Are we not on Visual Studio?
We are on Visual Studio Twitch.
We're not on their YouTube.
No.
Stream to their YouTube. Yeah, we're live on .net, but we're not live on Visual Studio. We should be. Why are we not on Visual Studio?
For some reason, we stream on .net, YouTube, and Visual Studio Twitch.
Oh, okay, that's right. We don't stream on multiple places because YouTube doesn't like that.
Yeah.
We're punished.
Okay.
All right. Is this working?
So we got a hasher. So now I will say use hasher. This is such crazy talk. Okay. So instead of all this, this is weird. This is all craziness. Okay. Hasher. Hash the username using the hasher class. Okay. And then I can just say instead of that, link bundle dot We happy about this?
I mean, you'd have to run it.
What? So we need to save these values out that are in the hasher. I don't love that the hasher pulls these directly I don't know. That's weird.
Pulls them from what?
Environment variable. That's a little
Yeah.
weird. So
But where else would they come? Where else would they come from? They're going to come from somewhere, and you don't want to hard code them.
Yes. Normally, though, I would want to pull them from config, like context.configuration and stuff like that.
That is where they're coming from.
Well, environment variable and context configuration are slightly different because.
But in functions, all environment variables are pulled from the same file, aren't they?
Probably. Okay. I'm not certain.
I see what you're saying now. Maybe not. I don't know.
It's low key. It's something to maybe mess with later. Okay, so I need to change these in my user settings, right? If they're empty strings, will it work?
Well, you can just copy. So go to your hasher. You just copy those. They have values. So if there's nothing from environment.getEnvironment variable, I assume
it's an empty string.
Values. Yeah.
No,
hasher key and hasher solve.
Got it. No, those are the keys it's using to look them up.
Ah, gotcha.
So,
yeah, so you
it needs those environment variables. I can go and locally set them. I could just do that real quick. Oh, now we'll see all my environment variables.
But it doesn't pull them from there, does it?
I mean, it will. It'll overwrite them otherwise. Yeah, it'll read from here if we set them in user settings or whatever.
But what happens if you put it in the local.settings.json?
Let's see.
That's where it should be reading from.
Yes. Now, the one thing is, should I hide my screen? Because maybe there's some stuff in there.
Yeah, you should. Here, I got it. All right, you got it.
Local.settings.json. Yeah, there was stuff. Okay, so we need hasher underscore key and hasher underscore salt. So let's go back to there. Okay, so this is in my values. And we will want to coordinate these later. Okay, so hasher. Ugh. Sorry, I'm just not typing today. Okay. And, oh, it auto-completed. That's so funny. I kind of want to tell you what salt it picked because it was really funny. That's actually really hilarious.
Since I joined late, what are you trying to do today? You're
Yeah,
2 hours late.
Okay, so.
No, request denied.
Okay.
No, we're working on we're trying to hash a username.
We're hashing the usernames. What we're doing, big picture, we're taking a website that stores a list of links, and so this is a great question actually from Steve. We're using local settings JSON. I prefer in Azure Functions to switch it over to do user secrets. User secrets is the way that we're telling people these days in .NET to manage user secrets because it stores outside of the project. It stores in a JSON file that's in, yeah. But in order to do this, do you mind if I set that up? We're going super late today.
Yeah, I think maybe.
Should we call it here, run it and see how it's going? And
yeah, let's run it and see how it's going.
Okay.
I think if we can get it working, then we can optimize here. I mean, this is important.
Yeah. Important. Okay. So is it still running? Or is it building? It's building. That's why. Okay. Starter on up. But I do prefer moving to user secrets, and it's super easy. That's something I can do extremely quickly, either this or next time. I'll close that. There's my function running, front end. think still running, or is a new one? Okay, and I want to go to 4280, not 5000, which I should change. So do we want to plan on next Friday? Kind of.
Chat, do you want to do this next Friday? Are y'all going to be around? I mean, I could go either way.
I'm planning to be here. And honestly, now that we got the thing working, I'm like, I could do the stuff, because I actually had written all this code to do Open Graph, which I'm excited about.
Yeah, so you want to do the Open Graph stuff, yeah.
Let's tentatively plan.
That's some of the harder stuff, is the Open Graph and the user authentication.
I mean, sort of, but it's actually relatively, it's kind of easier now. I was looking at the code. Yeah. Okay. Facebook. Yeah. Okay. And this is hello. Oh, hi. Okay. So now I'm going to hit publish. Okay.
All right.
I don't think I need that. What I do want to break on is this right here.
Break inside of it.
All right. Yeah. Well,
it doesn't matter either way.
Yeah. See, I want to break here because I want to see if it goes into it or not. Okay. What down there? No, I want to do continue. Okay. I'm a little scared, Burke. Let's go. Oh boy.
Got it.
Okay. There's right.
Got it. Got it. All right. What's the principal?
No. Oh, wait. It's not set yet.
There we go. So you got your username.
Okay.
Here goes the hasher.
I'm not going to tell you what the key and the salt are, but it's a hilarious value at pick for that. I'm just going to tell you that. Okay. Now let's go. Oh, it's got to hash the string. Okay. Super secure. Uh-huh. Okay.
What's our user ID? Yeah.
Hashed. Okay.
There we go. And the provider.
Uh-huh.
What's the provider? Is the provider populated?
Twitter.
Yeah. All right.
All right. It's happening. Okay. Now this should work. Uh-huh. Created. Okay. API working. So now we do need to figure, the front end needs to do some redirecting.
The front end needs to do redirecting, yes. All I really need to do is tell it, navigate to
the public
I
think
page.
we're at a good stopping place. I'm excited to do more API stuff. We've got the Open Graph. We are integrating with user auth. That's pretty cool. Took a little time, but
yeah, it was quite a lot, man. Actually, I'm impressed. I didn't think we were going to get that far, considering it took us an hour and 15 minutes to get the thing running.
Yeah, almost an hour and a half. Okay, add it, integrate auth with save links. Let's get all this business. Commit staged. I think I'll create a pull request, but I think I can just merge it, right? This is good. Or no?
Yeah. Why not let Copilot do the commit message?
That's a good question. I don't think I have that turned on. Copilot will write commit messages. That is true. GitHub Copilot will, or
I think it's just that little pen with the sparkle on it. Like if you
this guy right here.
I think so.
All right. Next time. next time.
All right.
Okay, so I've committed it. I will push my branch. I guess we can coordinate if we want. I might as well merge it, I think, because then you can work off this on the front end if you want to.
Yeah, you can merge it, and then I'll just do the front end to redirect to the right spot. That's not worth doing on a live stream.
Awesome. Okay, we'll sort of plan on next week, and thanks everybody for hanging with us.
Yeah, thanks for coming, Marcus. Yeah. Thank you. Igo, what's up? Janiska as usual. Cody Gorilla.
Yeah, we had a lot of folks here. It started a little quiet, and then a lot of people popped in. So, all right,
it's always a good time. All right, see y'all. Bye, y'all. See you next week.